So in this video I want to talk about what's going on with this object V of the vector class. The vector class is, let me bring up the description of it, is a class that's used to store collections of objects. So the vector class implements a growable array of objects. Okay. Like an array, it contains components that can be accessed using an integer index. However, the size of a vector can grow or shrink as needed to accommodate adding and removing items after the vector has been created. So I just gathered together the statements that used vector in our defpoly program. First of all, you notice we have this import java.util.star. So vector is in the java.util package, and that shows up, if you're looking at the specs, that shows up right here, java.util.vector. So we have this method, remove all elements, right? So we can remove all the elements in a vector. We have dot size, we can check the size of a vector. We can add elements. And look at this element that we're adding here. It says new point2d, xa, comma, ya. So what's being added to this vector, what we're adding to this vector is points. So we'll take a look at exactly how that happens, points being added. And then we can check the size of the vector. And then we can reference a particular vector using an index. In this case, we're using an index of 0. In this case, we're using an index of I mod n. And we said we were storing these point2d objects in here. And when we want to retrieve a point2d object, we declare it, point2d equals, and then to get that element, the way that, and this is kind of an old-timey version of vector that is being used in this program. So what's being stored in here are really just being seen as raw objects, kind of, until we cast them. So we have to use this casting to say read this object as a point2d, as an object of type point2d. Okay, so when we pull it out, we have to use this parentheses stuff. So like I said, this is kind of an old-timey implementation, and the vector class itself is deprecated. So we're going to look at a way of replacing this actually with a newer class called ArrayList. Okay, so ArrayList is also in java.util. Let me pull it up over here. Okay, so it's also, there's also, you know, a collection of stuff that you can do with ArrayList. It has its own functions for adding and removing things. So if we look here, what we would need to do is where we said, okay, well, this is how we initialize it, and we'll talk about this angle bracket stuff in a minute, but this is how we initialize it. We say clear, and we still use size, okay, and we use add instead of add element, and we don't have to cast for this one. So the reason we don't have to cast is that we kind of declare up front with these angle brackets, we're saying this is going to be a collection of point2d objects. Okay, so this is a technique called generics. So ArrayList is a generic class, and that allows us to do our collections that way. So exactly what is this a collection of? It says point2d objects. So you notice we have this class that we've created, that's been created for us, called point2D. And all it does is it just has contains two floats, and when you first create the point2D object, you pass in the two floats to the constructor, and it just initializes those fields like that. So where we have the code that says new point2D XA, YA, it's creating a point2D object where its X object is whatever we passed in as XA, and its Y object is whatever we passed in as YA. Right? So so these points, actually, now if we look a little closer, then the way we get these points, the way we get the XA and the YA is from our mouse clicks. So when we when we do a mouse press, we get our X and Y coordinates of the mouse click, and then we convert them into logical coordinates for X and Y. Okay, so these are the logical coordinates of where our mouse click was. Okay, and then if we look then down here where we do this add element, we're adding a new point2D that has those 2 points. Okay, and we collect all these points as they're being clicked. We collect all these points in this list V, or this vector V, right? And then when it comes time to paint, we go through and pull elements out of this vector, and we use those. So yeah, first we pull this element, right, A, and we pull elements out of there, and we use those elements to draw our lines. So what's being collected here then is actually the points, the logical coordinates of the points of the vertices of the polygon, right? So I think actually the first refactoring I'm going to do is just rename this from V to call it vertices instead of V, because I think that just makes it clearer what's going on here. Make it vertices, refactor. Okay, and now did I do that in the right one? Is this one? Oh no, I did that in the wrong one. So never mind. I'm doing. I meant to do it here. So okay, so we want to refactor this guy. Refactor to vertices. Okay, and let's just add in a comment. And let's just say collection of logical coordinates of vertices of polygon, something like that. So that's what this vector is. And actually, in the next video, I want to take some time, and since vector is deprecated, it says, see, it says obsolete collection. It's an old-timey kind of collection. We want to, in the next video, take a careful approach to replacing vector with array list.